best-of-7 Western Conference semis, and we'll talk all about it here on Toyota Warriors Postgame Live with the Hall of Famer Chris Woolen, NBA champs Festus Ezeli and Juan Toscano-Anderson. I almost crossed myself up for a second. JTA. But are you not entertained? I'm Vontae Hill. Because I'm a little frazzled right now after that one.
Wake up, Vontae.
Oh, I am awake right now. So Warriors went out when they're outlasting the T-Wolves. Look, the T-Wolves cannot shoot the three-point shot right now, but let me get your initial thoughts on this Game 1 victory.
I can see why you started like that, because it's a little sleepy game tonight. All right, the Warriors, they just came off a Game 7 win, and they were still riding that high. I think they surprised the Minnesota Timberwolves because they were resting the past few days. Held the Minnesota Timberwolves to 31 points in the first half. It just seems like the Warriors' energy, their efforts, obviously they shot it well from the three-point line, hit 18 threes. Shout out to Draymond Green, 4 threes for you, Vontae. Buddy Hield, 5 for 8 from the three-point line. They just put a lot of pressure offensively there in the first half.
That's a gritty win for the Warriors. That's the gutsiest win I've seen in quite some time from this team.
Absolutely. Look, the game got a little ugly in the second quarter, but as Festus said earlier, you either tested or rested. But I don't know if you said that. Maybe you stole that from Fezzi. But look, what I saw from the Dubs, Steph came out rolling, Draymond got rolling, and then when it got a little slow, Buddy got rolling. And there's only one basketball, right? So all you need is one guy to stay hot and keep the momentum and rhythm flowing, and that's what we saw tonight from the Dubs.
Yeah, like you said, but I think this was a gritty win. I thought Draymond Green was phenomenal in that first half. At halftime, Draymond and Steph combined for 29 of the 41. Unfortunately, the T-Wolves couldn't do anything. They were tripping over each other. They scored 30 points. But more importantly, Steph gets hurt, and they come out in the third quarter and really put it on the T-Wolves. Buddy Hield gets going. Jimmy Butler had a great game. But I thought to come out like Draymond and Steph did in the first half, set that tone. They had confidence, but that third quarter was everything.
Yeah, 36-29 quarter for the Golden State Warriors, a +7 right after halftime, and they built a 23-point lead in that frame. But the biggest story of this game is the injury status of Stephen Curry as he strained his left hamstring with about 8 minutes and 19 seconds. It actually happened before. Hear more about his hammy a little bit later in this post-game show, but a tough blow for Stephen Curry, and he was locked in right off the rip, Fezzi. 13 points. He had that look in his eye like he was about to drop 40 on the T-Wolves.
Yeah, this is a big game. All right, this first game, you got to set the tone, and Steph had that look in his eyes. Sad he's leaving with an injury because the hamstring is tough to come back from. The part that I loved about this game is the bench never relented. Steve Kerr went to different lineups, had Pat Spencer in the game, had Moses Moody in the game, kept trying to find somebody that was going to give him a spark. I got to give Pat Spencer a lot of love. He was attacking, he was going downhill, getting into the paint, gave the Warriors a big boost. Kevon Looney. Big offensive rebounds. A lot of the 18 offensive rebounds that the Warriors got tonight was from Kevon Looney. I thought he did a great job putting pressure on the rim. Draymond Green did a good job being the point forward. Both him and Jimmy Butler in the game. They just orchestrated and found a way to win, and this is a gritty win that you can build on the rest of the series.
Absolutely. I felt it was done by committee on both ends of the ball. As I said before, Steph got rolling, then it was Dre, then it was Buddy. First half, Ant couldn't find it. And was that because he was missing shots, or was that because Dubs were making it tough for him? I like to think it was because the Dubs were making it tough for him by committee. He saw bodies all night.
44-31 halftime. I think the T-Wolves scored 11 points in that second quarter. But ultimately, the three-point shot, once again, was the difference. Very similar field goal attempts, very similar free throw makes. But the Warriors plus 39 from the three-point line. Game 7 against the Rockets, plus 36. So, the three-point shot has been a huge weapon for them, but holding this team to 88 points. I didn't think Minnesota had this type of offensive futility in them. I knew the Rockets did, but, this was a game the Warriors stole, and now with Steph Curry hamstring, maybe they can buy a game or two and get him healthy.
T-Wolves go 0 for 15 in the first half from the three-point line. Remember, they're coming off a Game 5 win over the LA Lakers where they went 7 of 47 from 3. In that second quarter, it was just ugly. The T-Wolves go 4 of 18 from the floor, 0 of 7 from the three-point line, just 11 points. And Anthony Edwards, Willie, as you just mentioned here, just 1 point in that first half.
Yeah, and Anthony Edwards has, improved his three-point shooting, but he was missing layups tonight. I thought he missed some layups, but I thought the Warriors did a good job contesting at the rim and not conceding those easy layups.
I think we should just let Draymond play against Rudy Gobert every game the rest of the playoffs, all right? He was extremely motivated today. 18 of his points, 16 in the first half, and you love to see Draymond aggressive from the three-point line.
And look at this, JT, as Draymond Green scored 14 points in that second quarter, including 4 made threes in that frame. They just allowed 31 points in that first half. It's the fewest points allowed in the first half of a playoff game. Defense won that first half there, JTA.
Absolutely.
Defense!
Like a self-check, bro.
Defense!
Self-check or defense?
Self-check, bro. Hey, they were going to be calling like this. But we'll give him defense. 31's 31. He was seeing bodies at the rim, but also guys were pursuing. They never gave up on the play. So Edwards always felt bodies near him on every shot.
But think about Draymond's offense in that quarter. People always discuss his defense. We brought it up in the pregame show for game number 7. His offense was needed. He scored 16, sets the tone in the first quarter with 8 points. Tonight in that second quarter, he scores 14, JTA. So his offense does matter for this basketball team and for them moving forward.
Absolutely. When Draymond Green is scoring the basketball, it's a totally different team. Obviously, it's more offensive firepower, but the offensive flow looks a lot different. Draymond Green can, get into facilitating. Steph can find space. Guys are playing him a little bit more honest instead of, sagging off in the paint, hanging out at the hash mark. So I just think it gives Golden State a totally different look when he's hitting shots.
I mean, it's their shots, too. It's demoralizing for the defense of the other team when they're sagging off saying, this is the game plan. We're going to lay off of Draymond and let him take those shots. He hits those shots, and Draymond's not going to be quiet about him either. So when he hits, everyone he hits, he's talking to the bench. It is demoralizing for the other team's defense. But one of the bigger ones that he hits was when Steph got hurt. It was calling for a sub. Draymond hits that three. They go to a timeout. That was a good momentum-building three that just led them through the half.
Well, defensively, this strategy that Minnesota used tonight is exactly what Draymond's more comfortable with, and the Warriors are comfortable with it. They've seen this for years where you lay off him. What Houston did was pressure the basketball with a small, take the ball movement out. Not as comfortable, but that last game in Houston, Draymond got going offensively. I thought that confidence carried over. And tonight, with no one guarding him, with his confidence, was a huge difference. Those shots are going to be there. If Gobert's on the floor, Draymond's going to have these looks all night. And I said pregame, I'm not kidding around. If Draymond can continue to have games like this, 16, 6, and 6, this team can win the championship.
Wow, 16 points in the first. Green. And in the third quarter, we all discussed the first 6 minutes of the third